unimaginable. He had done everything anyone could have asked, yet Wayne Gretzky was about to be sold.
As soon as we won the Stanley Cup, I had about 7 people come to me and say, "You're going to be traded to Vancouver."
May 26, 1988. For the 4th time in 5 years, the Stanley Cup is theirs. Prehistoric men back from their hunt, they display their shimmering prize. As a player, you have one goal: work hard and play hard, and finally, this is it. The one time when there's more than enough for everybody. Yet it's all about to shatter, unbelievably, unthinkably. For months, Oilers owner Peter Pocklington has been negotiating to sell Wayne Gretzky.
As soon as we won the Stanley Cup, I had about 7 people come to me and say, "You're going to be traded to Vancouver." That was the first thing, not congratulations or, you know, way to go. You're getting traded to Vancouver. And of course, it shocked me.
As a player, you want only to savor this moment. Stretch it out as long as you can. Guard it, let nothing get in its way.
You know, the scary thing is that we're going to be better next year. That's, you know, we got a lot of pressure on us for next year. But I don't know, I think we relieved a lot of pressure by winning this year. I think that we'll be even better next year.
Teammate Marty McSorley and his father Bill, actress Janet Jones, all will be involved in the events of this summer.
The next morning, I went back to the arena, and I was in the shower, and I mentioned it to my friend Yuri Curry. And you know, at that time, no, it's not going to happen. And I said, well, I heard your name's in the deal. That kind of rocked him too.
For the fans, a chance to celebrate their team. Coach Glenn Sather, owner Peter Pocklington. Edmonton fans watch this team start out together, lose and win together, and become champions. What sport is supposed to be, what a team is for. But a team is a business too, and business has its own priorities. At this love-in, neither players nor fans have the slightest inkling what's going on behind Pocklington's closed doors.
That night at the parade, Mr. Pocklington said to me, you know, we have to sit down and discuss your contract. You know, I can't allow you to have this contract. We have to agree to a longer contract. I'm going to have to trade you.
For these fans, this team has done everything anyone could ask. With the best players, nothing could stop them. Yet for months, owner Peter Pocklington has been dickering with promoter Nelson Skalbania.
Nelson Skalbania came to me and said that he'd love to see Wayne in Vancouver, and there was an opportunity for him to do something with the ownership of the team. And I said, well, Nelson, it's between you and the present owners, but Nelson, he's not for sale. And then he came back and said, we'll give you $22.5 million for Wayne. And I said, oh, it's an awful lot of money. I doubt that any player anywhere in the world is worth $22.5 million, but he's still not for sale. Strangely enough, 2 years before, Jerry Buss and I had talked, and Jerry was doing nothing at the gate in LA, and said, you know, what I need is a Gretzky.
Los Angeles. Jerry Buss, owner of the fabulous Forum and the Lakers basketball team, at the time also owned the Kings.
It started like this. I said, Peter, you probably feel you made $3 or $4 million this year in hockey. He said, yes, I did. I said, no, you actually didn't. I said, you forgot to put in the depreciation of your most valuable asset, Wayne Gretzky. He says, well, what do you mean? I said, well, look, he's only going to be there 5, 6, 7 years. He's worth $15 million. So you've got to put in the depreciation. And when you put that in, you probably broke even.
He said, well, I'd give you $15 million and 3 hockey players and whatever and whatever.
And it was designed to prompt his interest to discuss it as an economic issue, because I knew as an emotional issue, there's no way you could discuss it.
That conversation went on, I guess, for a couple of months. And Jerry would phone and say, have you thought about my proposition? And I guess after a while, the emotion comes out of it, and I started to look at it objectively. But at that point, emotion overrode the objectivity. I was too much of a fan. I truly believed Wayne would go on for 7 or 8 or 9 years or whatever. He was a legend then and probably become greater.
And then he said, however, I'd get shot, and that's the end of it, so forget it.
Well, Jerry, he's not for sale. Things are going too well. I don't wish it. In fact, I'd be hung if I did such a thing.
Hung if he did such a thing, but Jerry Buss has whetted Pocklington's interest. One day, even this asset might be for sale. As a player, you learn about loyalty. It's what a team expects. As you're moved from team to team, you learn to shift that loyalty. From Brantford to Toronto to Sault Ste. Marie at age 16, Gretzky is an appreciating asset to himself and to others. At 17, he sells his services to Indianapolis, his first pro team, who in turn, 8 games later, sells him to Edmonton. On his 18th birthday, Gretzky signs a personal services contract with Peter Pocklington. He agrees to be a Pocklington asset for 21 years.
The major contract was done by the end of the summer, 1st of September. It is basically a 9 and 6 and 6 year deal, 21 more years. Knowing Wayne, he'll likely do the same thing Gordie Howe did and came up with he'll be a grandfather while still playing with the Oilers.
For Gretzky, one team, one loyalty, his whole hockey life.
I never had an NHL Standard Players Association contract. Never signed one for whatever reason. It just was never signed. But we obviously did agree to terms, and I was being paid under a contract.
That contract was a personal services contract with Peter Pocklington?
Which was signed January 26, 1979, I believe. And then Mr. Pocklington renegotiated it in the summer of 81 or 82. But again, it was never signed.
When the Western Canadian economy collapses, however, Pocklington needs money. He pledges Gretzky as collateral. He then decides to take the Oilers public, shuffling Gretzky from his personal portfolio to the team's, but Gretzky must agree.
When we had decided that there was a possibility we might take the Oilers public, I then had to sell the personal services contract to the vehicle that would take the team public. As the time progressed, we found that Wayne had a bit of an upper hand, and he decided that when the contract was re-signed, he wanted a 5-year contract period. At the end of that time, he wanted to become a free agent. And this spelled tough things for the Edmonton Oilers.
And at that time, I said, I felt that I had a little bit of an upper hand, and I asked for a certain contract. And what I asked for was a 5-year contract from Mr. Pocklington, which he agreed to.
So I guess the final straw that changed the perspective on all was the fact that we now had 5 more years to go. What do we do? And we had 4 and 3 and 2. We knew that after 3, his value would go way down, and after 2, obviously, almost to nil. relative to what we knew he was worth then, because we had many offers, many teams wanting the prospect or the chance to have Wayne Gretzky perform.
July 15th, the day before the Gretzky wedding. Kevin Lowe gathers friends and teammates, old and new, for a gag picture. Pocklington and Gretzky are at an impasse. Gretzky makes one last concession. He will agree to stay in Edmonton the rest of his career in return for a no-trade contract. But hockey players grow older. They can't stop depreciating. Pocklington must peddle Gretzky before he loses all value. Pocklington turns Gretzky down.
And one of the last conversations I had with Mr. Pocklington, I told him that. I said, you know, I felt that I was one of your most loyal players. I played in every league game. I played hard in every playoff game. I attended every function that I was ever asked to go to. I never missed one exhibition game from Soviet Union to Japan. I did everything that organization ever asked of me, and I felt that they weren't treating me with the way that I thought I should have been treated. That was the last conversation, and that's when I said, look, it's best now if you move me to where I want to go, and that would be California.
His wedding rehearsal. After 10 matchless seasons, he had earned some control over his future. Instead, uncertainty.
Come sing a song of joy, for peace shall come, my brother. Sing, sing a song of joy, for men shall love each other.
Los Angeles, where palm trees and hockey have never mixed. Bruce McNall, owner of the Los Angeles Kings, made his fortune buying and selling coins. Now unknown to Edmonton fans, unknown to both Oiler and King players, McNall and Pocklington are dealing. Business is an insider's game. If Gretzky's for sale, McNall wants in.
More of the owning and trading of them. You know, you buy them at one price. Hopefully you've made a correct decision. In July, just before the wedding, I had called about possibly coming up for the wedding, and Peter said, well, you know, you're serious about this Gretzky thing, maybe there's something there. In the meantime, I had heard rumors. I had heard rumors from Vancouver, from the Rangers, from Detroit, that possibly he was being offered around. And the most interesting one to me was the Vancouver rumor. I then asked Arthur Griffith whether there was any truth to the rumor or not, and he in essence said there was truth to it, that in fact there was something being done. So led me to realize that this is a very serious possibility. I spoke to Peter then in July and asked him about this, and he said yes. In fact, he had an offer, a deal pending with Vancouver, and that if I didn't hurry up or something, that this deal might go to Vancouver.
July 16th, a day of celebration. Time to remember all the good things. Friendships, moments shared, loyalties. Reasons why nothing should change, ever. No one knows what's ahead. Not Eagleson, not Sather or Ziegler, especially not the fans and players of the Edmonton Oilers. Yet nothing is inevitable. Events can still be turned around. for the people of Edmonton sharing the joy of their favorite son.
You look so beautiful, boy. I almost started crying when I saw you at the end of it.
Really?
That's when I almost lost it.
Oh. I kept saying all morning, I was in the bathtub saying, oh my gosh. I said, I woke up at 5 this morning, I said, I was trying to analyze how nervous I was, and I just couldn't come up with it. I was so nervous.
Connie phoned me at 10 o'clock and
She called me 6 times. I've never had so many calls from Connie than this morning.
Monday morning, Pocklington will phone McNall. If you want Gretzky, we should talk.
Have fun tonight. Enjoy the evening. We will. Good. Thank you very much. I'm okay. I'm too excited to be tired.
You sweetheart. It's wonderful.
The negotiations with Bruce McNall, Bruce was very interested. Obviously, he wanted to build a franchise. He had paid, and I'm not sure of the dollar amount, but quite substantially for the Kings, which were losing a lot of money. And he phoned, and these conversations, I guess, went on for the 60 days. And I finally said, look, if you wish, you have the right to speak to Wayne, and if Wayne agrees, that's fine, but not without Wayne's agreement.
Invaders coming from another planet. Invaders coming from another world. Invaders coming from another planet.
Honeymooning Los Angeles, Gretzky gets a call from McNall. Now there's no turning back. Shopped around in Vancouver, Detroit, and New York, Gretzky feels manipulated and violated.
The moment that I was given permission to speak to him, and he knew that Vancouver and others had been discussing that possibility, he was no longer an Edmonton Oiler from that moment on, in his mind. He was now a great hockey player, and at that moment, not sure where.
He's in search of a home at that
That's
point.
right. Well, the first thing I had to get over is being a little awestruck by the whole idea. I mean, a little bit living like the Twilight Zone here, because the idea of having Wayne Gretzky play for a team that I own, just as a fan, seemed to be a little bit incredible, something that almost couldn't be really happening to me there. And that was the first thing. And once we got over that a little bit, yes, I tried over that dinner and then the subsequent meetings that we had to really get a sense, a feel for his enthusiasm. One of the key factors from an economic standpoint, obviously, is the fact that it is a $15 million cash investment plus his additional salary. And if he was going to play a year or two, that $15 million I would never be able to recoup. How long did he want to play hockey if he was healthy? These are some of the questions that not only did I ask and receive a verbal answer from Wayne, but also, as you said, in his eyes and his feeling and his enthusiasm and the excitement that in a sense all of a sudden he's coming to a brand new fresh look, almost like he would maybe as a rookie again.
Before I can okay a trade, before I can say, yeah, I'll play in Los Angeles, you know, I cannot just come here and be a player, step on the ice and play and lose night after night after night. You know, I think I learned a lot from the Edmonton Oilers organization. I think I learned a lot about the game of hockey. And I said, you know, obviously, a lot of changes have to be made here before the team can be successful. It's not just one player. And we had a great conversation and a great dinner. And at that time, I knew I couldn't turn my back on him. He had been just so nice to me.
I said, Wayne, I'll be honest with you, I have no idea what an athlete of your level should make or makes now or anything. He told me what he made, and I told him that, I said, well, how does this sound to you? And I threw out a number, and he said, no, that's too much. It's too much. Oh my God, I haven't negotiated with a person like that in my life. And he said, no, I think it's more in line if you do this. And I thought it was too low, and it was just a reverse negotiations in a sense. I think he was such a great deal of money that was being spent to obtain a service in the first place. I think he was more worried about making sure that I recouped my investment before I went too crazy with it. But it was a very funny scene. He just went back, and finally we just said, well, Fine, we just settled on it. It took us all of about 5 minutes, I guess.
And that's when I looked at him and I remember saying, that's why I want to go to LA. I want to help make it a winner.
This deal had actually took place late that evening. We had finalized it at, I think, midnight or later. Called Wayne at home and said, Wayne, we're done. Let's go to Edmonton. They would like to have the press conference right away.
I remember the day before the trade was announced, I got a phone call from Mark Messier and left a message to say, you know, it's important, call me back. And I remember we were staying, my wife and I were staying at that time with a friend of ours, Alan Thicke, and we were kind of hiding out and we knew something was going to erupt. And I remember my wife saying, you know, you should call Mark, you owe that to him. And I said to my wife, if I make the phone call to Mark Messier, then I won't be traded. Because everything that I talked to Mark about and with, all the memories and all the thoughts that I've ever had, all the good things will come to the surface. And all the reasons and all the bad things that are in my mind right now to why I want to go through with the trade will be wiped out. So I never called him back.
At that point, and I'd heard rumors around Edmonton, but I just laughed at them, you know, because in my own mind at the time, I just, well, everybody thought there's no way it could ever have happened. And so when I phoned him 2 weeks before it really did happen, then he said, yeah, it might happen. And at that time, then I said, wow, this is pretty serious. But still, I just didn't think it would ever happen. And, you know, what can you say? I mean, it's unbelievable.
The next day when I went to Edmonton, first place I went to was Mark's house. I talked to Mark and explained the situation. I remember phoning a bunch of my teammates explaining my side of the story.
Well, he was pretty shaken up, you know. He had a tough time dealing with the fact that just the whole Edmonton thing, the mystique we had. I mean, you don't forget those things. They happen very rarely in a lifetime. To be a part of something like that we were, there's players that will play the rest of their lives, and thousands of more players are going to come in and play this game and never, ever even come close to the feelings that we've had as a team, as an organization, and winning the Stanley Cups, as friends, as everything. I mean, you just don't get those chances, and he had a tough time, I think, dealing with that. And then the friendships and the city and just everything, it just, you know, and he, at that point, I don't think he really knew whether it was still going to go off. But, you know, he made the decision, and that happened, and c'est la vie.
Wayne Gretzky is going to leave the Edmonton Oilers.
August 9th, early morning, the rumors begin to spread.
The Oilers will get a number of players and future draft choices and more than $10 million in exchange.
Well, this morning I didn't believe it, and now I'm so broken up I can't talk about it.
Just heard on the radio 10 minutes ago, and it's a real shock.
It's my 22nd wedding anniversary today, and then a catastrophe like this. It's just unbelievable. I'm really shook up. I could stand here and cry.
Inside, the movers and shakers. Outside, the moved and the shaken.
God, it hurts. We're gonna miss him.
Oh, that's terrible. It really, really is. You know, he was like one in the family.
No one can comprehend. He's the best ever. You don't mess with that. You just don't.
5 minutes before the press conference, I said, Wayne, are you absolutely sure you wish to go through with this? I said, I will cancel it now if that's what you want. And he thought about it and said, no. He said, that's what I want.
You know, it's kind of a funny situation. You know, we've traded you and $15 million, but you don't have to do this. I kind of said, well, you know, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And Before I went into the room and before the press conference was made, which was delayed a little bit, Mr. McNall called me aside one more time and said, you know, I know you have great tradition, you have great history, good friendships. If you don't want to come to LA, you know, I'll understand, I'll back out right now. I want you to be happy. He said, your happiness is far more important than anything else. Promise Mess I wouldn't do this. But as I said, there comes a time when
McNall buys his star, Pocklington gets players, draft picks, and $15 million to put in his pocket. Gretzky must adapt to a new life. For the fans, the ideal shatters. Quebec City, summer 1988. As Gretzky is being traded, the Nordiques, owned by Carling O'Keefe Brewery, are secretly put on the market. And just as unthinkable as the Gretzky move to Los Angeles, the Nordiques may be on their way to Milwaukee or Dallas. Team president Marcel Aubu.
In July, I was in Scotland. Got a phone call that somebody put an offer to get the Nordiques. The guy was Harry Onus. I said, I can't believe it. Then I get back right away. After only 48 hours in Europe, left the family there, got back here. My wife was just, she didn't believe what was going on. I got back at the Carling O'Keefe office and I said, well, I think you're doing the wrong thing if you accept that kind of offer. For many reasons. Quebecers would never pardon you to sell it to anybody else than the Quebecers.
The people in this community, I wouldn't say 100%, but I would say 60 to 70% will read, talk about the hockey team 12 months in the year. They know everything that's going on.
But Nordique fans could never imagine their team might move. After all, they support them through good times and bad. They make Carling O'Keefe the most popular beer in the region. They help generate the NHL's greatest rivalry, the Battle of Quebec. They do everything anyone can ask. 3 months later, another offer from a non-Quebecer, rumored to be Harry Ornest, one-time owner of the St. Louis Blues. Carling O'Keefe accepts the offer. To Aubu, it is a betrayal.
October 30th, the war happened.
Aubu aide Jean Delago.
We got a copy of the offer. Unknown buyer. And all this bull. We thought it was Ornus because we knew that he had made an offer during the summer. The contract was so similar. The clauses were so similar. And one particular clause was so identical. We said, it's got to be Ornus.
The answer to your question is no.
So you had never at any moment have you made an offer or in combination with other partners made an offer for the Quebec Nordique?
I have answered your first question, and the answer is no, because you can ask me 40 questions, and the answer is no.
The day after, I made a press conference to say that Nordiques are sold because the contract was consummated, the binding offer with the unknown person. And I said, I got 29 days left to find the money.
Marcel did communicate with me that evening.
Ed Prévost, then head of O'Keefe in Quebec.
He said, would you agree to do an embargo on this news until Monday? I said, fine, I will do that. I will not utter a word of it to anyone until Monday. And I respected that.
Monday morning, unknown to Prévost, Obu goes public.
I received at my home Sunday morning an offer already accepted by Carling O'Keefe. Because I have a right to match this offer in the next 30 days, I mean 29 now, we could match that offer and keep the team in the hands of the people in the city or in the province of Quebec.
He turns against his bosses, appeals directly to the fans.
Ça n'a plus de bon sens qu'on ne dise pas aux Québécois qui veut mettre la main sur ce club de hockey-là.
As I was making my way to the office on Monday from a meeting outside of the office, I happened to listen on the radio to discover that my friend and colleague Marcel Aubé was holding a press conference at the Chateau Bonentente, as I recall. That came to me as a surprise and a bit of a shock, and I even say a bit of a slap in the face, because I had respected my end, but he had chosen to break the ice alone.
Tout ce que je peux vous dire, c'est que nous suivons le dossier de très près. Nous allons manifester le maximum de vigilance sur cette question-là et nous allons tout faire pour favoriser les acheteurs québécois.
Je pense que c'est notre bébé, les Nordiques. On ne veut pas le perdre.
Je pense qu'O'Keefe et par ricochet Elders a trahi les Québécois en vendant à un groupe d'Anglais l'équipe des Nordiques. Et j'espère que Maître Aubu va réussir à trouver les appuis pour acheter la concession.
Marcel is a very able, talented, charismatic, highly emotional communicator. And he certainly laid it all on the table that day, because from that point on, it was just front page news, headlines all over the place. And headlines based on the fact the team was moving, when no one ever suggested that at any time. And that, I felt, was not fair. Not fair to a company that had sponsored the Nordiques from the very beginning, even before he got involved, in fact. In 1971-72, we started sponsoring the Nordiques.
Quand je suis parti annoncer la lettre de Miller aux États, les gars sont bien ennuyés de moi.
Beer drinkers watch sports, sports watchers drink beer. But loyalty is a tricky matter. You have to give it to get it back. As anger spreads, a Carling O'Keefe boycott looms.
Je voulais juste vous offrir une light.
La light de Miller. Tout ce que vous avez toujours voulu d'une bière.
Melbourne, Australia. Elders Brewery owns Carling O'Keefe. From half a world away, it's hard to understand how much one hockey team can matter.
In the case of Canada, we've recently announced that we were selling our majority ownership of the Nordiques, the hockey team, Quebec-based hockey team, and the Argos, the Toronto-based football team. We're doing that for a very good reason. We actually like both the clubs. We very much like the people associated with them, but we don't think corporate ownership of those teams is the best way for them to go in the long term.
We were still employees of O'Keefe. And by our actions, our press conference, we were, quote unquote, partly destroying the revenues for our employer.
Marcel Aubu sounds the alarm in a code all Quebecers understand. Our team has been sold to a non-Quebecer. With no loyalty to Quebec, he may move the team to bigger markets in the US or English Canada. This is a battle for our survival. We must fight back.
See, I have O'Keefe. But look at what is inside. It's not beer.
So you won't buy O'Keefe beer?
Right now, no.
We got commitments from people who sent us faxes and telegrams saying, you can count on me for $2 million. You can count on me for $5 million. No questions asked. No contracts ahead of time. Personal money. I've never seen this before.
48 hours after it begins, it's over. Nordique fans have rallied and won.
Le fait que nous avons l'assurance que le club va rester ici, qu'il sera la propriété majoritaire de gens d'ici et qu'il sera dirigé par des gens d'ici. Mon but est donc atteint. M. Prévost, hier, a confirmé le retrait avec le consentement d'O'Keefe de l'inconnu acheteur.
He's Mr. Quebec. I mean, after the Prime Minister, the Archbishop, who else is there in Quebec? There's Marcel Aubu. He's well above Jean Pelletier and Jean Doré for sure. So he's the biggest mover and shaker in this town, or so he believes.
Elders head office in Melbourne.
The management approached us with an opportunity of a management buyout, which in effect we agreed to. And we think that's going to be good for the Nordiques longer term. Firstly, as a result of that, the group will become very tightly controlled by a group of Quebec-based businessmen who really care very much about the economy of Quebec. We care about it a lot too, but they care about it passionately.
When you own something, you decide to say something. Hey, you are the boss. You sell what you own. In the case of the Nordic, they just realized they own it, but they didn't at the same time. It was owned by the population. They just realized for the first time, Australian people realized they were sharing the ownership of something they had 100%. And I tell you, it's tough to learn that.
Aubu, having saved the Nordiques for Quebecers, now heads to Toronto to meet his angry superiors.
On November the 5th, I was in Toronto at one of our normal monthly meetings, and we had the visit of Marcel and some of his colleagues, where Marcel spoke with me, John Barnett, Ted Kunkel, and asked us if we would give him an exclusivity by November the 9th, I believe. I think so, yes. For him to demonstrate to us that he could show the funding, that he had the funding necessary to proceed with the purchase of a team.
Maintenant, il n'existe aucune autre équipe dans la Ligue nationale qui appartienne autant à son milieu.
The Aubu partners get their team. The Nordiques remain in Quebec because enough loyal fans care and know how to fight. For Carling O'Keefe and the fans, loyalty bought, loyalty threatened, loyalty bought back again. No team is forever safe.
This team didn't belong to O'Keefe. It doesn't belong to the 5 owners that it's got it now. It belongs to people of Quebec. They own this team.
Ce qui unit vraiment les Québécois, comme le disait Félix Leclerc, c'est la chanson, la langue et le hockey.
At the moment, we'd like to now to go to the reason you all came, to introduce our new team colors. And let's see, isn't that? And let's see, I think we have a model here somewhere for the new colors. I'm not sure. Do you think? Wayne and Janet Gretzky.
August 9th. Back in Los Angeles, Bruce McNall introduces the player who cost him more than the whole Nordiques franchise.
Mr. McNall and Mr. Vachon and Dr. Jerry Buss, who originated this deal, I understand, a couple of years ago, have worked an awful lot of hours and put in an awful lot of time to make the deal possible. I'm happy to be here. I hope that I can contribute and help the LA Kings and help make this team successful. And thank everyone for coming, and I hope to see you all at a lot of hockey games this season. Thank you very much.
Gretzky goes straight to work, peddling hockey to Southern California.
Quick question. What do you think of Wayne Gretzky coming here to the Los Angeles Kings?
Great.
Do you know who he is?
No.
Frontier justice. Peter Pocklington always feared he'd be hung if he ever sold Gretzky. Canadians are angry and hurt. Their illusions pummeled. It's not supposed to turn out this way.
Just showing Pocklington that we're not going to take this. Something's got to be done. We'll never forget this.
The trade may be explainable, even understandable. It's just not right. Chasen's restaurant. Celebrities turn out to greet one of their own. Los Angeles is a world of center stage. TV talk shows, guest appearances, commercials. For the celebrity, a bigger market than all of Canada. It's taken most of his life, but finally, Wayne Gretzky is his own asset. Not Brantford's, not Canada's, no longer Peter Pocklington's. He can sell himself as he wants.
As a customer of the bank since 1984, he's the perfect spokesman for Lloyds Bank Silver Service.
Lloyds Bank Service made me feel like a king long before I moved to LA.
Bo knows baseball. Bo knows football.
Bo knows running.
No.
Gretzky has millions of loyal consumers. For that reason, Diet Coke, Lloyd's, and Nike are betting those consumers will like the Gretzky soft drink, the Gretzky Bank, the Gretzky sports shoe. But first, they must like his hockey. And in Los Angeles, hockey's a tough sell.
The thing about Los Angeles is you've got so many world-class sports. I hear other cities saying, well, we have a lot of sports. No, we have USC and UCLA. Combined between those two schools, they win more world championships in sports than all other universities combined. USC alone has won more national championships than any other university. Now you throw in the Raiders, and the Rams, and the Dodgers, and the Angels, and the Lakers. And I mean, suddenly, if you don't have a great show, it's very tough to survive. But if you have a great show, then let's go back the other way. If you have a great show, this place will be sold out every night. Every night.
Opening night. A great show means winning. Gretzky must deliver and win. For Bruce McNall, it seems an enormous gamble. But sellout crowds mean corporate boxes, television contracts, each game a 3-hour commercial for t-shirts, keychains, posters, dolls. The Los Angeles sports market is huge. The opportunity unending.
It is now becoming a very, very big business. And I think that's why the Gretzky kind of deals are more and more possible. And I wouldn't be surprised to see deals of this magnitude and greater as time goes on. I'm sure we'll look back, it's sort of like Gretzky's own records, you know, people look back one day and somebody will probably break those and somebody will look back on this deal and say, my God, look how cheap he was back then. Nothing was involved, it's nothing. Who knows if one day you couldn't take another great player, for example, and find that the demographics for the television and so forth might mean that X number of viewers will watch more if you get that player. And that might result in a $500 million contract with Madison Square Garden. Then if you go out and pay $250 million for him, is that a good deal or a bad deal? At that point in time, it's a pretty doggone good deal.
They called it the trade of the century. August 9th, 1988. The holder of 49 NHL records, number 99, Wayne Gretzky.
With each $1 million Gretzky earns, with each record he breaks, his task becomes harder. So many give him so much, but Gretzky gives back the ultimate loyalty. He gives as good as he gets. Sports, entertainment, selling. They have become a seamless web. With lights, music, crowds, they seek out the noblest emotions in us. Pride, passion, belonging, hope. Then direct us, focus us, and set us loose. We are its willing victims.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Guys, thanks a lot. Thank you.
Gretzky, McNall, and the Kings win. So do the fans of Los Angeles. Never has LA hockey done so much business. Never has business seemed to matter less.
Thank you, guys. It was a good team move and it paid off. Thank you very much. Yeah, worked out pretty well so far. Thank you very much. Thank you. Walter, how are you? All right, huh? Is that great, Walter, or what? Is that good or what, man? Couldn't get any better, could it?
Oh, you do that. You do it.
You do it, wouldn't they, Pat?
Who got the first one?
Exactly. No question. He got him on the road, didn't they? Thank you very much. You gonna come down with us, Walter? You gonna come down to the locker room now, or come on down?
Gretzky will make millions more dollars. McNall pay off his $15 million investment in less than 2 years. But no one is envious or bitter. More power to them. They delivered. A great show in return.
They ready for it? Here they guys are. Here they are. Hey guys. Oh man. Thank you very much. Nice way to kick it, pal. Nice way to do it. Great. I tell you, I couldn't be any better. Really appreciate you coming out.
Yeah, we're totally responsible.
I know that. I'm totally wrong.
Big money built big arenas and made hockey a national passion. Big money allows players to become better athletes and give us a better show. But when the stakes are high, big money can blind and corrupt. Insiders and outsiders, the movers and shakers, the moved and the shaken. In our hearts, sport is an idealized world where play, tradition, and loyalty come first. We don't want to believe that everyone, everything is for sale. So when sport behaves like real life, when the instinct to sell is often stronger than the instinct to be loyal, it hurts.